to have this published piece of work that you can offer to people is priceless. It's valuable. What it did accomplish for me and my business, it really opened up the door for opportunities to speak on different platforms. For example, I spoke inside different groups. Once they knew I had a method and a book that people could use, they really wanted me to come on and speak about the method, number one, and of course, promote the book so people are able to purchase the book so they can go through the method themselves.
Welcome to Sell Your Book. It's the podcast for existing or aspiring self-published business book authors who want to know what's working right now to help you sell more books, get more clients from your books, and expand your opportunities. If this is your vibe, you gotta subscribe. Now, let's get into today's conversation. Welcome to this episode of Sell Your Books. And today, I have a special personal one. The one and only Nadine Mullings. And Nadine is the founder of Nadine Mullings Marketing Agency. She's the author of 5 titles, okay? Clock them, 5. All right, starting with the Best Marketing Planner, and most recently, the 90-Day Activate Your Faith Journal. Nadine is also a podcaster, a speaker, and the creator of the Best Marketing System, and that is BEST. It is an acronym, and don't try to copy it because it's trademarked, okay? Okay. She's the creator of the Best Marketing System for coaches and consultants. And Nadine's mission, and this is very important for my girl, okay? Because yes, Nadine is my girl. Nadine's mission, okay, don't do that. All right. Nadine's mission is to encourage, empower, and equip women of faith in business around the world by helping them get clear about their God-given mission, message, and marketing method so that they can experience God's best in life and in business. So put your virtual hands together for my girl, Nadine Mullings.
Yay! I'm so super excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm just really excited for you having your own platform and interviewing people. I've interviewed Denise Renee on several different things that I've had. So now to have the opportunity for the roles to be reversed and to be on here as a guest is super exciting to me.
Well, I thank you so much for saying yes. So this podcast, Sell Your Books, is all about helping people see real people in action, whether they've known them or not. Real people, real entrepreneurs sell their books, and to dig into the stories behind them and to, share best tips, best tactics, best practices, what's worked for you, so that they too can sell their books. So talk to me about the first book that you wrote and what got you started or interested even in wanting to write a book.
Yeah, definitely. So the first book that I wrote was the Best Marketing Planner. And as you read in my bio, I have a system or a method that I walk my clients through when it comes to creating their marketing plans. What I found is there's a huge gap in the marketplace where a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs don't have a written marketing plan. So they want to market and promote their book, but they have nothing written down. They have nothing written down to actually follow. So I really wanted to close that gap. And the work that I do with my clients, I really help them to write the vision and make it plain, write that marketing plan down, that calendar, that schedule, so that they can truly reach the people that they're called to serve in the marketplace. That was really my goal and my mission in my business. And I found that I can only do it one-on-one, right? So the clients that I work with one-on-one, but it's the same method for anyone. So I really wanted to create a resource and a tool where anyone could pick up that resource and a tool in the form of a planner and be able to use it in order to create their own written marketing plan. And the plan goes through the building, engaging, serving, and tracking. So when they use the planner, they're able to actually have a written marketing plan for 90 days of mastering their marketing through the planner. So it was really a need to offer a resource, a tool for my clients, and to be able to serve people in a way where they didn't necessarily have to have a one-on-one session with me, and they'll still be able to create a written marketing plan.
Gotcha. Love it. So I love how it's so tightly integrated into your business. And I love how you said for you, it was this tool to, instead of having to, get on the phone one on one with everyone
Mhm.
or get on the Zoom, because we don't, who gets on the
Exactly.
phone anymore?
Exactly.
But instead of having to do all of these different one-on-ones with everyone, now it's a one to many. It's really, having a book is really inexpensive way for someone to get access to you, to your knowledge. And yeah. So why a book? Why not? There are other things that you could have done. You could have done, YouTube videos. You could have done, a podcast, although your podcast is a little bit, the podcast that you have now is a little bit different. So it's not like,
Mhm.
heavily marketing focused per se.
Yep.
Your podcast is
Mhm.
more about faith and business. But,
Yep.
why a book in particular? And what was the writing process like for you?
Yeah, so a book in particular was really about me being spirit led. A lot of what I teach is to make sure that you're following the Holy Spirit. What is the Holy Spirit guiding you to do? And to answer that question, Denise Renee, the Holy Spirit was guiding me to create a planner. It was like, okay, let's put this in a book. Let's put it in something that you can sell on Amazon. So I was being led and guided to create the planner in the form of a book. So that is the reason why I did it as a book more than like a course or a podcast or anything like that. I was really being led by the Holy Spirit. But I also knew that I needed help in getting it produced because I'd never published anything in my life and I've never published anything to put on Amazon. So I did seek a coach. I reached out to an author coach. I actually interviewed, I think, 3 people. That's just how I roll. I always like have to see the different options and then go with the one that I feel is the best fit.
Makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
exactly. So I interviewed 3 author coaches and I picked this one particular author coach because she focused on low content books as far as planners, devotionals, journals. Those are low content. And that's what I felt led to
I'm the high
produce.
content girl. You want to
Yeah.
write 80,000 words?
Yes, exactly. And I didn't want to write 80,000 words. And I say,
That's okay.
yeah, low content, but high value. Because when it comes to journals, devotions, and planners, a lot of the value is what the reader writes. So they're creating a lot of the content and being guided, and that makes it transformational and powerful because they are now writing that plan. They're now writing the vision. They're now journaling their thoughts. So it just made sense for me and was a good fit for me to do a low content, high value book and to seek out the right coach that can really help me to do high content, low value. I mean, high content,
High content, high
low
value.
content,
Low
high
content,
value.
high
Yeah,
value.
get
There
it
we
right,
go. We
right?
got
One
it.
of those.
We got
Definitely
it.
low content, high value.
Gotcha. So, talk to me a little bit about the those initial results that you saw from the sales of the book, and how did it help you? What was your initial goal to just get more clients from that? Was it something that you were really pitching more towards your prospects? So, what were your initial goals? How did the sales go? And then, how did it what were the results that you reaped into your business?
Yeah, so the initial results was really about providing value. In producing that planner and publishing it on Amazon, people are now, of course, able to purchase it on Amazon. To be honest, the Amazon sales were not massive. I'm not getting passive income coming in and relaxing on the beach from this one planner. That wasn't the goal, and that wasn't the main reason why I did the planner. But what it does is it provides value for my clients. So a lot of times I provide the PDF version of the book in complement to our coaching session. Or if I feel like someone could really get some value from it, I offer that PDF a lot of times. So I would say it also complements what's out there in the marketplace to also offer it for free to clients, to offer it for free to prospects. To have this published piece of work that you can offer to people is priceless. It's valuable. It really allows you to be seen as an authority, as an expert. So I think for the first book, The Best Marketing Planner, it was really about building my authority authority, building my expertise, offering value in the marketplace, and less about how many units I was selling or how many books that were actually purchased on Amazon, because that volume is low. That wasn't huge. What it did accomplish for me and my business, to answer your question about that, is it really opened up the door for opportunities to speak in different on different platforms. For example, I spoke inside different groups. Once they knew I had a method and a book that people could use, they really wanted me to come on and speak about the method, number one, and of course, promote the book so people are able to purchase the book so they can go through the method themselves. So I think what it really did accomplish for my business is it gave more authority, it gave awareness, it allowed me to be an expert, it allowed me to showcase my particular method, and for people to become aware of the work that I do in the world.
All right, real quick, we need to talk about something, because every time you go to a conference, attend an online summit, or you're listening to a podcast, you're being taught by somebody who wrote a book. And it's working your nerves because you know you need to write a book too. Because you're missing out on these brand building and money making opportunities. Maybe you haven't written your book yet because you don't know what topic to write about, or you don't know how to structure your book in a way that positions you as an expert. You may not even be sure exactly how you're supposed to be getting clients from your book. No worries, because I got you. Download my free 4 Steps to Book Writing Success, and it's going to give you the solutions to the book writing problems you have and help you think through other issues you didn't even know you needed to. Head over to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. That's writingwithdeniserenee.com/the number 4 and the word steps, no spaces. Let me help you get started writing your life-changing and business-changing book right now. I mean it. Hit pause and go to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps, download it for free, then come on back. Hit unpause and let's get back into this conversation.
Case my particular method, and for people to become aware of the work that I do in the world.
I love it. There is this statistic, and I have to get my life together and actually have the statistic when I'm actually interviewing people, so that I can quote it properly. But anyway,
you can always edit in the end and just put the statistic like on the.
I'm not editing it. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I am in my done is better than perfect era, and
I hear you.
We just got to keep rolling.
Yes.
But essentially, I do mention this statistic elsewhere, but essentially the statistic is that, self-published authors only make, a small amount of money from their books, and they only make X amount of sales. And while that may be true for some, it's not true for all. But also, I think that when people cite those types of statistics, it's a little bit short-sighted, because when you're a business author, even if you have a low amount of sales, let's say you sold 100 copies of your book, but if you sold it to the right 100 people, that could be so huge and so massive for your business. So I really love how you said how it enabled you to get in front of different audiences and different peoples. And so was that being able to leverage other people's audiences, did that help you bring more people into your business?
Yeah, definitely. It was a lead magnet. So it allowed people to come on my email list for me to nurture them, which can eventually lead to clients. I think the biggest thing that my goal was in the Best Marketing Planner was to really offer value and a resource. I remember when I was mentioning the Best Marketing Planner in my email to my email list, and someone from, I think it was London, from the UK emailed me back and said, I just ordered your planner. And I just got so excited about it, because that's exactly what I envisioned, having them have a tool, a resource. Even though he didn't reach out to me for coaching, he was able to actually purchase the planner in the UK and use the planner. So that was my goal. My intent was always offering a resource and a value that people can purchase and use to help them grow their business and create their marketing plans.
and you have no idea who he knows. So he
Nope.
may have used that planner and done whatever, but then who knows? In a few years or months or so, he can say to that right one person, "Oh, I use this planner, I use this book.
Yep.
You've got to check out Nadine Mullings." And now you're getting clients from the UK.
Exactly.
You never know.
Yep.
So that was your first book, but then I did introduce you as having 5 books under your belt, ma'am.
Yeah.
So talk to us. How did you get into the next book, and what was different about that next book from your first one?
Yeah, definitely. So the next book on my book journey was the 90-day gratitude journal. And this was actually a project that a colleague was talking to me about and saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this gratitude journal and doing it as a collective, having, a collaboration, several authors in on it." And she was just talking to me. Shout out to Carol Dunlop. I believe she's going to be also on the podcast. So I don't know if it's going to come before my episode or
I
after
don't
my
know either.
episode. But
Listen, girl, done is better than perfect. I'm just recording episodes, and when I edit, and I'll see who comes out first. But yeah,
yeah. So
she
watch
is
her
good. She's good.
episode 2, because watch her episode 2. So she said, Carol J. Dunlop said she's creating this 90-day gratitude journal. She was talking to me about it and what her vision was for it. And immediately in my spirit, and you'll hear me talk a lot about being spirit led, immediately in my spirit leapt. And it was like, I want to be in on that project. She didn't even ask me, right? She was just talking about it because we talk about what we're doing in our businesses. And I said, I want to be in on it. I didn't know what she was charging for it, nothing. I just felt in my spirit that it was the right project to be on. And I was never thinking about a collaborative book, to be honest. It wasn't in my thought process to be a part of a book project with other co-authors. But when she explained the project, she gave me the vision for the project, it was an immediate yes in my spirit. So I jumped on that project and was a co-author for the 90-day gratitude journal for your business, which was the second book. Oh, you're on mute.
Let's unmute. Let's start with that. And I'm going to jump in here right now and just say, I'm a little bit, just a little bit of a snob. I'm a little bit of a literary snob. And like I said, I'm that high content, 80,000, 100,000 word, 300,000 word girl. I'm your girl. And not so much that I'm a snob against like journals and planners and things like that, because I think they have their place and I think they're super useful. In fact, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, so I won't say that. I'll save that for later. But I have seen collaborative book projects go well. I've seen collaborative book projects go not so well. So me personally, and for me, I was invited to a couple of projects and I didn't want to participate in them for my own reasons. However, I am a woman enough to hear different perspectives. And one of the reasons I invited Nadine here is because I wanted her to talk about her experience about collaborative books. And she really said some things to me that made me go, you know what? That's a really great perspective. And everybody's not going to write that 150,000 word book, but this might be an option for them. So Nadine, I would love for you to share some of the things that you shared with me as to why collaborative books were a great vehicle for you.
Yeah. So I feel that sometimes people can feel overwhelmed by writing a lot or even writing their entire story. It's overwhelming. It seems like a lot to take on. So if you want to just put your feet in the water or your toe in the water, a collaborative book project is a great way to do that. I think the biggest decision in whether you want to join a collaborative book project or not, as I said before, I'm spirit led, is if you feel it's a right fit for you. If it's not a right fit for you, then you move on with your life, right? But if it's a right fit for you, then you make the effort to join the project. You do your part and your piece. So because you only have a chapter or a certain amount of words, for example, I think for the gratitude journal, we may have had to write 250 words. It was really low. It wasn't a lot of content. It's less overwhelming. You can
Totally.
actually become
That's
a
like an
published.
email.
Yeah, you can become a published author just writing 250 words or less. But here's the big thing for me is value. It's about giving people value. You can give people value from a quote. You can give people value from two sentences. I've read two sentences in a book and it's blown me away. It's like, wow, that's powerful. That's mind shifting. That's transformational. You don't really need a lot of words to be transformational. You can actually be transformational in just a few short sentences, right? So I feel like if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel intimidated, if you haven't been able to get your book project out there because of how many words you need to write, a collaborative book project where you only need to write a few words and you can make a powerful impact and difference in someone's life is a great opportunity to start. It's a great opportunity to get your foot wet. It's a great opportunity to get your message out there. It's a great opportunity to provide value. If you have nothing written versus 250 words written, you've done something. Like Denise Renee has been saying, it's not about putting it out perfectly. It's about getting it done. So if you feel like you want to get something done, think about a collaborative book project. Otherwise, maybe you could be waiting years to write your book because it's so overwhelming. A book collaborative project gives you an opportunity to get started now.
So, talk to me a little bit about how that first project went, and how successful was it, and did you participate in it as a way to help boost your business, or was it just something like you said? It was just like you felt like you really need to be a part of that project, and so you went with it.
Yeah, so that first book, collaborative book project, 90-day gratitude journal, wasn't necessarily fully tied to my business. I believe gratitude is a spiritual principle, and it is scripture. Scripture says to be thankful because that is God's will, and to be in gratitude because that is God's will. So it is a faith-based principle, and I teach about business and faith-based. So it was aligned with my business, but as you mentioned before, I focus a lot on the marketing stuff when it comes to the work that I do with my client. So I didn't say it was directly aligned to a course or a program or anything like that, but I felt it was right to do. It was a faith-based spiritual principle that I believe so strongly in, the spirit of gratitude and being grateful for all things. So it was a project where I was able to showcase my beliefs and my core values, not necessarily a direct, like I said, line to my business, but definitely a part of my core values and principles. And to answer your question about the project, it was so easy. It was like such an amazing flow. And I give Carol credit for this. It flowed so easily. I believe we got the project done in 90 days. Everyone put their part in. She did the layout, we did the book cover. It just flowed so easily. That was one of the smoothest collaborative book projects that I've been in. And that was the first one. So I was started off with a good feeling about collaborative book projects because it was so easy to do that one.
I actually remember some of the rollout for that one, and all of the different authors who were
Yeah.
a part of it. Like I knew like half of you. So
Yeah.
it was fun seeing everybody like show up on my timeline with, different pieces
Yep.
and aspects, and really, really talking about the book. And I think that in that case, when you're selling with other people, it's a great boost to the sales because you're not just one person like trying to champion your book. There was like about 7 or 8 of you who were all making this really big effort for the book. So what got you into, so that's book number 1 and number 2. What
Yep.
got you into book number 3 and number 4? And
Ooh.
those two were collaborative projects, right?
Yes. So book number 3, and I'm probably gonna confuse the two. But actually, let me talk about this book project because I think it's a great example. Because you talked about sometimes book projects are easy, and I talked about the 90-day gratitude journal being such a flow and ease, and how we published that in 90 days. There was another book project that I was approached to be a part of, and it was under a different title. I'm not going to mention that title. It was somebody that I wasn't as familiar with, but somebody that I knew was a part of the project. And she called me into it. And I was like, yeah, this sounds like a great book project. That book project was actually 3 years in the making. We had so many issues on that particular book project. And that was a longer book project form. It was because we had to also, I think I'd want to say 2 or 3 pages that we had to write for the book project. So it really took a lot of time, energy, effort. The publisher didn't come through. Different things started falling through. So that particular book project is an example of what Denise Renee said, that sometimes you have good book collaborative projects and sometimes you have bad ones. And that one was an example of a bad one, to the point where people were even talking about suing the publisher because it never got published, and all the things we got promised and the things we paid for didn't come through. So that, I can't remember if that was collaborative book project number 3 or 4, because it was so long and so many years that it took. But there is a good side to that story, in that we actually revamped that book, reinvented the book, changed the book cover, changed the title, repurposed the content, and brought together several of the original authors and republished under She Thinks Like a CEO, and got that book published. So that was it ended up being an Amazon bestseller. So I think the story behind that particular collaborative book project was, it was difficult, it was hard, it was stressful, it was years in the making, but we stuck with it. And those core collaborative co-authors that really understood the vision of the book and the reason why we signed on for the project, we pushed through and reinvented the book and got it published. And Carol is a genius about helping books to become bestsellers on Amazon. She was actually one of the leads in that project, and it ended up being a bestseller on Amazon under the title She Thinks Like a CEO. So I want to say that was probably my 3rd book, but because it took so many years to get completed, I think another book came in between that time. So that's the reason why I mentioned that one.
That's all right. Well, I grabbed my phone here because hot off the press, Miss Ma'am. Okay, Miss Ma'am. Let me get rid of her. Let me talk about her behind her back. Miss Ma'am done went number 5 on us. Okay, as of I think about 2 weeks ago. All right, so this is where's the camera? Okay,
Yeah.
can we? Okay, my thing is really low, but this is now number 5. It's right on her website. It is the 90-day Activate Your Faith journal. And I can't, let me see, strengthening your faith by overcoming blessing blockers. And I personally am not like a big journal girly. I'm a very much an audiobook person. I'm a high content book kind of person, and I'm a, like give it to me and I'm listening on Audible and of all of the things. But I was watching a video of an interview with you and Carol and was it no, not Tracy. Oh Lord, I forgot the young lady's name. But one of the Patricia, that's it, Patricia. And I was like, just the way that y'all were talking about it, I was like, well, I had to go get this book. It was so really compelling. Like, I'm sure you probably have. I did leave a comment. You probably haven't seen it yet. But I really loved her story, hearing her story of of just where she is right now and just being a part of the process. And just the whole concept is very compelling because it is very true. I mean, the number one person who stands in my way from getting whatever needs to be get done is, hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Yep. And I'm not a Swiftie, but I'm like, man, Taylor ate on those lyrics.
Yep.
I mean,
true.
We stand in our own way. So I have like a multi-layered question here. I got the sandwich question for you. So how did this book project come about? What is different about your participation in this project? And just, share with us a little bit more about this particular project.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So as you mentioned, I have been involved in several book collaborative projects. But I felt like I really wanted to do my own book. I actually was thinking of doing a devotional, more content, and I reached out to Carol because Carol has a bestseller lab. And I said, hey, I'm really thinking about doing this devotional, and I want to do the devotional through your bestsellers lab. And she said to me, well, that's a lot of content. Doing 365-day devotionals, that's going to be a lot of words, a lot of content. And she kind of led me to
Streams in the desert.
What was that?
I said, think streams in the desert. If you're in a religious community, streams in the desert is probably like the most famous devotional, and that book is dope.
Yeah, or Jesus Calling. Jesus Calling is a popular one too. That particular devotional.
Mhm.
It's a lot of words. It's a lot of content. That was what was on my heart. And then I was told, well, what about doing a journal? Giving people, instead of 365 days and having to come up with a devotional every day and how many words that's going to be, start off small. Start off with a journal of 90 days. 90 days is powerful because it's 3 months, and you can do so much in 3 months and can really change habits and thoughts in 3 months. So a lot of the things that I do are 90 days, like my best marketing planner is 90 days, the 90-day gratitude journal. So I have this theme of 90 days. So she pointed out to me, you could do a 90-day journal, right? Activate Your Faith journal. And God just started working with me as to what the journal needed to include, what it needed to look like. It was co-creation. It was like, okay, now it starts flowing. And he even highlighted the 9 blessing blockers. He highlighted names of people to reach out to be a part of the project. And that's what I love about it. This particular book, the 90-day Activate Your Faith, I was the visionary and lead author. So it was the first time that I was being the visionary lead author of a collaborative book. Yes. So I sat in the seat of co-author on several projects, and now I stepped up to that visionary lead author, and just going through the whole process and being that visionary, and also working with the co-authors because they co-created too. They had the opportunity to talk about what they see, and we changed the format and added scripture verses in places where we didn't originally have it. So I feel it was just a whole co-creation. The Holy Spirit, the co-authors, myself, God, we were all creating this journal. And what I love about this particular project, Denise Renee already alluded to it, is a lot of times we struggle with blessing blockers in life. There are things that are stopping us from being the best and getting the best in life. Things like fear, things like perfectionism, things like self-doubt. I wrote about self-doubt, things like indecision, things like distractions. All of these things are things that a lot of people struggle with. So as each one of the co-authors started to write about their story and why they picked that particular blessing blocker, I love Patricia, which Denise Renee mentioned. She's on the podcast episode, because she says she had a desire to write a book for many, many years. She had this desire, and she put on a vision board or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, that she was going to write a book in 2023. It was mid-year in 2023, or maybe even further down. She still hadn't written this book. I approached her about being a part of the collaborative book project, and she realized this was an opportunity for her to actually write a book, to participate in a community. That's another thing that collaborative book projects really allow you to do. You're not alone in it. We're all writing it together. So you feel a sense of community. It's almost like a mastermind that we're all doing it together. So that's also what I feel makes book collaboration projects so special, having that community and going through it together. So she was able to be a part of a community. Us all, in fact, several of them were the first time authors that were part of the book. And so when we released the book, which was at the very end of 2023, so I think December 2023, her vision became a reality, right? That what she wrote down on her vision board, what she wrote down as accomplishing being a published author in 2023 actually became a reality. It wasn't necessarily maybe the way that she thought it would come, with her own solo book, but it was a collaborative book that allowed her to be a best-selling Amazon best-selling author. So I just love her story in saying yes to opportunities, even when it may not look like what you thought it would look like, because God sometimes presents it in a different package, right? God presents it in a different way. And so she had the opportunity to get her feet wet, to start writing. And the great thing about it too, I think once you're in a book collaboration project, in fact, I saw someone else who did a book collaboration project, and her co-author wrote an entire book on her one chapter. So she started off in the book collaboration project as one chapter. Now she has an entire book on that same topic. So it really gives you that bouncing board to really go out and write more. Now you have that motivation. Now you're inspired. You're like, I'm an author now. I can conquer the world, right? So it really inspires you to then get out there and be in more collaborative book projects or to write your own solo book. So it is really a great opportunity for this author journey with a collaboration book project. Hopefully I answered your question.
No, yeah, you did. No, awesome. Thank you. So, I mean, it's really amazing to see you started off with a planner that was based on your business,
Yep.
and then it's been helping you in your business. So,
Yep.
In various ways.
Yep.
Then you moved over into collaborative book projects, and now you're leading your own your own project.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit more about, since this is the Sell Your Book podcast. So
Yep.
talk to me a little bit more about like the numbers and what have been the tactics. And you're also the marketing queen. So
Yeah.
what have been some of the tactics to help get these books to bestseller status?
Yeah. So seller status is all about us coming together as a group, really having a book launch team, having people behind you when you're launching the book is really key when it comes to best-selling status. So I always say, if your goal is, my goal honestly wasn't bestseller. I think that's icing on the cake. My goal is always to provide an amazing resource that's helpful for people and valuable for people. Having that bestseller author title on top of it was icing on the cake. But some people, that's their aim, that's their goal. They want that bestseller title attached to their name. So if that is the goal, it really is about getting that book launch team together, getting the promotion out there, getting the word out there during a specific time period so people can purchase during that time period. So it's very important for Amazon to see the numbers increase during that time period, whether it's a day, whether it's a week, whatever that time may be. And that's when you're able to lift the numbers and become a bestseller. That really is the strategy of being an Amazon best-selling author, is really getting a launch team together, getting the promotion out there and promoting in a very specific time period, and then you'll get the best-selling status. But I would always say, and what I advocate is, it's what happens to your book after the launch. So that's where the additional marketing comes in. Everyone focuses on the launch and getting the book out there, and then it's like crickets.
Real quick, I know you're enjoying today's conversation, but do you want to write a book that helps you get clients for your business, grows your audience, and expands your opportunities, but you don't know how to get started writing this type of a book that can help you produce these results? Even if you don't feel like an expert, the very act of writing a book will help position you as one. And there is a proven path forward that will help you get what you want. I put it all together for you in my 4 steps to book writing success. Visit www.writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. Not only do you get the steps, but I also give you videos for each step, breaking them down so that you would know your actionable steps to follow to get started writing your book right away. So hit pause on this episode right now and head over to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps to download, and then unpause so we can get back into this conversation.
And everyone focuses on the launch and getting the book out there, and then it's like crickets. Silent.
And I got time for that.
But the real work really begins after the book launch. The real work is now promoting it on a consistent basis. And as the lead visionary author for the 90-Day Activate Your Faith, I see passive income come in every month from book sales because I'm consistently promoting the book, right? So it really is about, what are you going to do to consistently promote the book? One strategy, because I know we don't have a lot of time to talk about all the strategies, but one strategy that I really like is bulk sales. So it's not just selling one book here, one book here, one book here, but what is a way that you can sell 10 books at one time, 20 books at one time, 50
So
books
how did
at
you
one
set
time.
up? I love that tactic. How did you set up selling this in bulk? Who did you sell it to?
Yes. So here's my strategy for bulk sales: events. If you do online events and you sell tickets for an event that includes the book, a lot of people do it differently. They say they're going to do an event, whether in person or online, and people can purchase the book at the event. Like if it's an in person event, they purchase the book at the back of the room. Like there's a table and you can go to the author, get it signed, and purchase it at the event. That's a great way to sell books, but it's not guaranteed bulk sales, right? You're not guaranteed that you're going to sell 10, 15, 20 books. What I teach is actually the book is a part of the ticket. So when someone purchases the ticket, however much, whether it's an in-person event or an online event, they get the physical book as a part of the ticket. It will tell you the ticket is $47, whatever the case may be. You will get the book as a part of the ticket sale. So if you sell 10 tickets, you've sold 10 books. If you sell 50 tickets, you've sold 50 books. So that to me is an easier way to do bulk sales and less salesy because it's just already included with the ticket. So if the person is interested in that topic, say, for example, I did the power of faith. So I sold my 90-day Activate Your Faith book as a part of the ticket sales. So 10 people attend the event, 20 people attend the event, all of them are getting the book. I got bulk sales right there. I have an event coming up called the Power of Prayer. We're selling the Purpose Driven Entrepreneur's Power Journal with the ticket sales. 10 people sign up for the event, we've sold 10 books. 20 people sign up, we've sold 20 books. So it's more of that focus of making an event around the topic of the book and focusing on bulk book sales by bundling the book with the ticket purchase.
Gotcha. I love it. Sneaky and yet ethical.
Yes.
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like trying to get your kids to eat broccoli and you just melt some cheese on top of it and give them a little ketchup to dip it in
Yeah. People
to make sure that they eat it.
People actually love it. Let me tell you why, because not everyone reads. So sometimes they purchase the ticket and think they're just purchasing the ticket. They don't even realize sometimes that they purchased the book. So when we're asking them for their address to mail the book to them, they're like, oh my gosh, I get the book too? I didn't even realize that I get the book. And when I was in Atlanta, I don't know, Denise Renee, if you've been to, I think you've been to one of my events in Atlanta where I had the power of events and I showcased different authors. When you
Some
go
of your
to
earlier ones
yeah.
before you left us.
Yes, before I moved to South Florida, I was doing all these power events in Atlanta. When the in-person events were the same thing, they get a goodie bag, and in the goodie bag was the author's book. So the
Yes,
author
I do
would
remember
get
that.
bulk sales. They would get 10 sales in that day, or 15 or 20. So
Girl, you ain't new to this. You true to this. That's right. I remember.
I've been doing this for a minute now.
I got Sherry Riley's book, and it's so funny. I haven't heard from her in a while, and then like she showed up on this podcast. I forgot who's. What's her name?
Daniela.
No, not Lori Harvey. She's
Was it
another Harvey.
Daniela?
I don't
Daniela?
remember her first name, but she's Steve's daughter.
Oh, okay. Then that's not the podcast.
Yeah, she showed up on this podcast on my timeline a couple of weeks. I was like, oh, Sherry, what's going on, girl? And you did it for another event, and I had got somebody else's book. I don't remember who it was. But yes, you've been doing this for a minute, so you true to this. You ain't new to this. I love it. I love it. And then also, you've been in your podcast bag for a little while now, and so now your season 8 is featuring the authors, the co-authors. So now I watched one of those videos yesterday because you were promoting it on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, you got a YouTube channel? I'm gone because I love me some YouTube channel. So now I'm gonna just cue it up into my my playlist to check out the rest of it. Awesome. So any other tips, any other fire mic drops? Because you've been dropping bars throughout this whole thing now. Bars.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to drop on us?
I think that it's just a mindset. Again, I want to go back to a lot of people think it's about launching the book Once you launch the book, that's it. But launching the book is like birthing the child. And nobody births a child and then neglects the child. Let's hope not, anyways. Like then the child needs to grow. The child needs feeding. The child it needs all these things, right? So, what are the things that your book needs in order to grow? What are the things, especially with this podcast being about book sales? What is the strategy? What is the plan that you're going to put in place for that continuous book sales? Is it events? Is it podcast guesting? That's another thing that I've done a lot of is podcast guesting to get the word out, and that's a popular strategy too about your book. Is it creating your own podcast based on your book title? Right? There's so many different ways and avenues of continuing to get the message out there, especially if you believe in the message. If you believe in the message, then you shouldn't be stopping short of just publishing the book. You should be spreading the word about the message. Like, let's use Sherry Riley, for example. Like she published her book. Oh, I can't even remember when. I remember when she had originally published it, and I purchased the book for the event. But here it is, maybe a good 10 years. I don't know if it's been that long, but maybe close to 10 years later, she's still out there pushing the message, right? She's not stopping pushing the message. So I would say that is the biggest thing. It's a mindset shift. It's not about launching the book and just having a book out there to say that you're an author. If you truly believe in the message that your book has, whether it's a journal, a planner, a full book, there's a message there. And if you believe in it, you have to be a good steward of that message by continually, I feel like I said that word wrong, continuously marketing and promoting the book.
I think that it comes back to what you were saying at the beginning, and that is really being concerned about providing value to people. So even if you are creating a low content book, making sure it's high in value. And the value is not to you as the author, like, oh, I'm getting rich off of selling, $20 books. No, it's the value of the transformation to the reader, to the person who's going to receive this book. So, yeah, I think, if I were to sum this episode up in one word, it would be
value. Yeah. And
yeah.
I wanted to add one last thing, if I could, about
Sure.
self-published versus using a publisher, right? Most people are taking that self-published route because it's a lot easier. But I feel like a lot of times with the self-published route, a lot of times there's room for error in the book, right? So, and I know you're big on this, Denise Renee, so you could probably pop on here and chime in about making sure your book is edited, making sure that it comes correct, because it's easy to just throw anything out there when it comes to self-publishing. But I still tout the self-publishing route because you make more revenue as the author when you publish for yourself. And the reality, when you use a publishing house, a professional publishing house, you're still responsible for the marketing. They do not take that aspect from you. They actually look for authors who have big platforms, who already have thousands of followers, because they want that author to market and promote the book, and they get a cut of the profit.
No, they don't get a cut of the profit. They get the lion's share
percentage
of the profit, like 80 to 90%, because they're footing for the editors, they're footing for the marketing department, and they're footing for the printing.
Yeah,
and for middlemaning your book and getting it out onto the platforms. So they take the lion's share of the royalties. You don't even own your own ISBN number.
No.
And you can't,
or even the look of your book. Like, they can change the front cover if they want.
And you can't even do anything else with that book or with that property without their permission. So like you're talking about, hey, now I've turned this into a podcast. I've turned this into an event. And Carol, talked about some of those strategies as well in her episode. So you may not be able to do these different things and make these other revenue streams on your own, because, they may be up in you like a record deal, trying to 360 everything and get a piece of everything you do. So that is a great point to add.
And I wanted to say, some people say they like to use a publisher because it goes through the process, because it goes through editing, because it goes through all of these things. But I purchased the book not so long ago from a well-known publishing house, and it had an error in it. right? It still had
It's
an issue.
possible.
It had a typo. It's possible because people are involved, right? No matter whether you self-publish or you publish for a publishing house, people are involved and people are prone to make errors, right? Things happen. So it doesn't mean using a publishing house means your book is going to be perfect and free from error. That is not accurate. That is not true. I just purchased the book and saw an error in it, and it was from a famous publishing house. So I would say keep the profits in your And the other thing about a publishing house is distribution. I will give it that much. You get better distribution with a publishing house. You can get if your desire is to reach other countries and have your book published in different languages, they have more ability on the publishing house side to be able to handle that type of distribution for your book. So if your vision is as big as I want a book in my book to be translated in French and people in France reading it, whatever, a publishing house may be a better route to go. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
I will say that there are lots of resources for independent authors. There's tools like Draft to Digital that will help you get wider distribution beyond Amazon, get you into Barnes and Nobles, Target, Walmart, etc. Yeah. And that will also help you with translation and distribution overseas. The thing is that as a self-published author, you are self-funding, so you want to make sure that you have the budget for that, or you could just grow your book. You can off of the initial sales, you can then take that money and reinvest it to growing a bigger audience for what it is that you do, or going international, if that makes sense. But there are tools, there are resources. You just have to do your research.
Yeah, and sometimes a publisher can even approach you when you self-publish your book. If they're interested in your book and think it's something that's good for their publishing house, they can approach you and say, hey, I like your book. Do you think you want to publish with us? I had a client reach out to me that was one of her goals. She wanted a publishing house to actually pick up her self-published book. So it really just depends at the end of the day what your goal is, what your vision is, what your desire is for your book. And choose the right path and the right person to guide you through the process. If you need a ghostwriter or editor, Denise Renee is amazing and an option. So do your research.
30,000 words or more.
Exactly. If you're doing a high content,
high value book,
then she's your girl. She's your girl. So pick the right people, pick the right path, pick the right process, and get it done. Do the thing.
Do the daggone thing. Nadine, thank you so very much for coming and providing value for us today and giving us a different option with considering collaborative books. So I couldn't have spoken on this topic myself because of my own biases. So I'm glad that I can, just give people the option to hear about that, because, I'm not the end all. I'm just one person. And, anyone that you go to, we're going to have our biases. So this is why I like kind of creating this platform, so people can see people being successful as authors in a variety of different options. So where can people find you? Where can they find your books? Let us know.
Yeah, the best place would be my hub online, which is my website, NadineMullings.com. That's the best place to go to learn more about me. If you want to connect with me on social media, my 3 favorite platforms are LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So you can connect on either or all 3 of those platforms under my name, Nadine Mullings. And you can purchase any one of my books, my solo books or my collaborative books, all on Amazon. Every one of them is available on Amazon. So you can just type in the title and you can get that book link on Amazon.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I thank you once again. And I look forward to seeing what else is coming out from the Nadine Mullings camp in the world, the mind of Nadine Mullings, and faith in business, women in faith, and the podcast and everything like that. I don't listen to every single episode, but every now and then I'm like, oh, one catches my attention and I'm in there. I make my little comments and everything like that. So it's all good. So congrats on everything that you are doing and your books. And of course, I am waiting. Me personally, I'm waiting for that high value, high content book. That's 100,000 words.
It's coming. It's
I can't
definitely
wait
going to
for
be a
that to
part of the
come.
library.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to everyone for joining me in on this episode. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.